Nobody cares about your busted bracket. Absolutely nobody. Run It Back starts now.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up.
Happy Monday morning. Welcome to Run It Back. Look at these smiley, happy, charming faces. I'm just going to get right to it and introduce everyone. Stadium insider Shams Charania coming to us live from Cabo. Chandler Parsons. Eddie G there on the end. Loving the shirt this morning. Everybody have a good weekend. We're thumbs upping. Okay. That's very enthusiastic.
Always thumbs upping.
I feel like that was really half, but okay. We're going to start with a little bit of bad news. The Lakers won. So that's where we are right now on a happy Monday. We're going to start there. Beat the Magic. Career high, 35 points for Austin Reaves, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, of course, coming off the bench. There were Lakers fans chanting MVP for the young Reaves, who, as you all probably know, grew up a Lakers fan. Look, Chandler, is this a blip? Is this just crazy? Or is this a bit of a trend for young Austin Reaves?
No, I don't think it's a blip. This kid can hoop, and he's been doing this for a while now. They basically made him untradeable at the deadline. And he said after the game, "Am I MVP?" No, I know those guys are really good. And he's just, but that is a really, really exciting feeling. And the fact that he feels the love in his home arena is awesome. But this dude can play. He can play point guard. He can play off guard. He can defend. He can score. He can go ISO. He kind of is just a constant contributor on this team. He doesn't make mistakes. He plays hard. He's a great kid, and he's producing. And look, I don't think he's gonna have many 35-point games, but he's capable, and he takes good shots, and he plays the right way, and he plays unselfish. And this is the perfect kind of guy to have on a team where you need, when someone goes down, who can step up and provide an energy blast like this. And like I said, he's very consistent. You know what you're going to get from him. He's going to be solid. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to run the offense. And this is what he does. He's going to play in this league for a really long time. And it's fun to see games like this where kind of his whole game is on display, and he's bouncy, and he's got handles to him, and he talks trash. He's having fun, and he's having a great year, and he deserves it. Everything I hear about the kid, he works hard. He's an awesome dude. He's a great teammate. He wants to win. And those are exactly, that's half the battle in the NBA, and this kid's doing all those things.
How about his last year and a half? I don't know who's had a better last year and a half. You think about it. He goes undrafted in the 21 NBA draft. He signs a two-way with the Lakers. Before the regular season even starts, he gets converted to a full contract after impressing LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook. He was running errands for Russell Westbrook in training camp in 2021. And I'm told after his first year, which was solid, the Lakers did not want him to play in Summer League, in part because they felt like the role wasn't what they envisioned. Him having the ball in his hands in Summer League, that's not something that was envisioned from Austin Reaves come regular season. And now look, he has the ball in his hands. He scores the last 10 points for the Lakers in the last minute plus of the game last night. And when you look into free agency this summer, the maximum that the Lakers can offer him is 4 years and $50 million due to his restricted free agency status. That's increasingly looking like his marketplace at least. And so when you think about other teams, they can go higher than that. They can give him a poison pill offer sheet, which Chandler knows a lot about. But the Lakers can match that because he is a restricted free agent. There has been some success over the years. Omer Asik, Jeremy Lin, when you think about poison pill contracts. So there's going to be a significant market. This is a guy, like Chandler says, plays the right way. He has an edge to him. He makes winning plays. He doesn't really make mistakes out on the floor. And so you have to give credit to the Lakers. Joey Buss, Jesse Buss, Nick Mazzello, their executives, their scouting department that went out and got him. And you're starting to see a trend here. Austin Reaves, Alex Caruso, Taylor Horton-Tucker, guys that either went undrafted or late, somewhere in the second round, that end up playing a lot better than expected and then cashing out in just 2 seasons. So Austin Reaves is going to go from undrafted, two-way, non-guaranteed contract to potentially 4 years and $50 million this summer.
Hey, and before we move on, I think he gets more, Shams. I think this team, I don't think the Lakers are going to be able to hold him for $50 million. I think he's shown he's a starting point guard. He's a great bench player. And a team that is actually good in a contender can use someone like Austin Reaves as that steady backup point guard that can fill in the starting role and that can be help a contending team. So I look for him to get one of those restricted, tough contracts that the Lakers are forced to either match or not match. And I don't think they can afford him.
He would
Can you get the
leave
Chandler
his
Parsons deal, though?
dream team.
Hit him with that Chandler Parsons, that contract with a player option and whatever. Yeah, make it hard on the Lakers, and I think he is out.
Wow, that's like the end of the Hollywood movie. That's his dream there. Oh, like if you're wondering, AD did finish with 15-11, D'Lo with 18-6. The Lakers are right now sitting in the 10 spot, 6-5, without LeBron in the lineup. And Darvin Ham said that he expects LeBron to be back before the end of the regular season, which is now we're on the last couple weeks here. Playoff hopes, Eddie. 3 weeks left. How hopeful are you for this Lakers team?
I love that we just spent 5 minutes talking about Austin Reaves because the Lakers beat the Magic at home. The Orlando Magic. Let's relax a little bit. Like, that Lakers stimulus package is incredible. Like, Josh Hart, he's fine. Lonzo Ball, he was fine. Alex Caruso, he's fine. Brandon Ingram, he's good. He's having his struggles. Julius Randle, he's fine. Kyle Kuzma's fine. When you're in LA, I know the lights are brighter. They do funny lighting over there in the arena. You can't see the fans. It's like, Kris Jenner's ex is always courtside. It makes it feel like it's a movie every time you're in Staples. But they beat the Orlando Magic at home, and they needed 35 points from Austin Reaves. Calling him one of the best young guards in the league, like, are we serious right now? I love Austin Reaves like everybody else, but I did not stand up out my seat and chant MVP at the young man last night. So let's just temper it a little bit. They're still barely the 10th seed. The good thing for them is the Pelicans clearly don't care about basketball anymore. Doesn't look like Zion Williamson's going to play again. And just remember what just happened a couple nights ago. Season on the line. AD lost his brain and let this happen. And they should have beat that team easily too. No Luka Doncic on the Mavericks. Kyrie lit him up. And our guy Maxi Kleber, same spot they gave up a game winner earlier this season. So, let's relax just a little bit. Shout out Austin Reaves. I hope he gets $60 million. I hope he ruins the New York Knicks in 2 seasons or whatever it is.
No!
I'm all for it. Get your bag, my guy Austin Reaves. I also love that Chandler described him like the consummate white player. Like, coach's son makes all the right plays, knows where to be, hits shots, all that good stuff. Because it's true. He really, he plays exactly how he looks besides the behind-the-back pass. I'm sure his pops was somewhere pissed at him about that one. But I like Austin Reaves. He's cool. The Lakers, they have to squeak into the playoffs, and the Jazz are right behind them. I don't know. I don't think they win 2 play-in games unless LeBron's coming back.
Well, I do think they put themselves in the position, obviously. They're going to get in that play-in game. They're kind of peaking right now. They're playing well. LeBron's coming back eventually. They're getting stuff. They're getting D'Angelo healthy. Anthony Davis is looking great again. So I do think they put themselves in the position. Portland's kind of slid out. New Orleans, like A just said, I don't know what they're doing, but they seem like they're done. So, I think they're capable of beating Minnesota. I think they're capable of beating Oklahoma City. So I do think they have a chance to squeak in there, and then who knows what happens. But, yeah, Austin Reaves, listen, he's had a great year. He's had a great come up. Is he Josh Giddey? No. Is he one of these actual rising stars? No. But he is what he is, and he's going to be a consistent NBA player for a really long time because of all the things that we talked about that he does, with a little sauce on his game too. So I definitely think the Lakers have done all they can to put themselves in this position. The moves at the deadline, everything they've done. It's going to be tough though for the play-in, but I can see them kind of squeaking in and getting that 8 seed.
Well, I can't, and that's all that matters. No, wait, before I go to Shams, very important breaking news. Eddie, did you say that Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble have broken up?
Yeah, I don't keep up with that. Don't quote me on it. But I know he's always there, and he always looks great.
No, he doesn't. And why does he have an entire bottle of wine in a glass? I don't get it. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Everything about the Lakers is obnoxious. Everything that we just showed, every image, every reference. Oh my God. But Shams, I understand that they're not done yet. We got 3 weeks left in the season, and they're possibly making some changes, some moves.
Yeah, they've got one open roster spot. They've looked into big man help. Mo Bamba's out potentially for the remainder of the regular season. So they're going to be bringing in Tristan Thompson and Tony Bradley for a workout today, I'm told. And so Tristan Thompson, 11-year NBA vet, longtime LeBron James teammate, part of that 2016 NBA championship team. Tony Bradley was just with the Bulls. He got waived right before the buyout deadline. So two guys that have experience, big bodies, close to 7 feet tall. I guess you can see what they bring in a workout. But this is a team that could use some size in the front court.
Yeah.
Please bring in Tristan.
Yeah, I don't think it really moves the needle. I think they definitely need size. Wyndon Gabriel is technically their backup center with Obama out, and they're very small. That's hilarious. Listen, they could use extra 6 fouls, sure, but I don't think this really moves the needle for them, and I don't think they're going to get much burn anyways. But yeah, you can always use a good locker room guy, a good vet, and good size here.
And great stories. I say do it. I'm here for it. Great news for Denver, however, because I don't know what they've been doing lately, but they figured something out. They're finally out of it. Jokic with his 28th triple-double, but the 5-game losing streak is over. So I don't know. It seemed like they weren't playing as themselves, and it was getting worse and worse. Chandler, do you think they've figured something out? Do you have concerns as we wind down?
I definitely have concerns. Listen, they won a game and they looked solid last night, but there's still glaring holes in this team. And it starts obviously with the defensive end, where this isn't just really a constructed, good defensive team. It's like they have a lot of guys that are brilliant offensively, but they don't give the effort on the defensive end. And when you look at a lot of championship teams, it comes down to that. And these guys are sublime offensively. They can score. Everybody knows what Jokic does. Everybody knows how good of a scorer Jamal Murray can be. Michael Porter loves to score the basketball. Aaron Gordon's had a great year. They have the talent on this team to compete. They just don't really put that same effort, in my eyes, on the defensive end, which is a huge issue. They found a rut right now. They're in a little rut right now where they're losing games. People are kind of figuring out. People are exposing Jokic in a pick and roll. People are putting Jamal Murray in a pick and roll, and they're putting them in uncomfortable situations where you best believe teams are going to do that 4 to 7 times in a playoff series. So I think teams have a lot of film on them now, and they see their weaknesses and they're kind of exploiting those, but they are super talented. They're locking up the #1 seed pretty much in the Western Conference. They've had a great season. We can debate all day long. I'm sure we're getting there if Jokic is the MVP, but there is issues with this team, and they are glaring, and there's a lot of teams when I look across the Western Conference, and especially the Eastern Conference, that are a nightmare matchup for this team. So as good of a season they had, it's wide open still in the West. I can't just because they're the #1 seed crown them as the best team in the West. I think multiple teams could beat them in a series in the Western Conference.
I'm going to tell you my dream scenario when I look at the standings and I just wonder, this would be the coolest way for this season to end. Sacramento Kings are 3 games back in the loss column from the Denver Nuggets. It sounds a little crazy, and it's 3 games, and it's 11 games left to play. That's a lot. But we're talking about a team that just lost 5 games in a row. And they finished the season against each other. So my dream scenario, Sacramento Kings, they overtake them April 9th in Denver. But yeah, there's a ton of concern here. There's a ton of reasons to be worried. All their flaws are pretty apparent. Their defensive issues, their coach has been talking about it. Everybody's been talking about it. They know that exists. To have this losing streak at this point of the season, it's pretty damning because they should be cruising to the 1 seed and putting a nice cherry on the top of a great season, a great MVP season for their best player. Instead, they're struggling. they're not fighting off any of the allegations of their watch being fake. They're actually showing us their wrist is a little green. And so, yeah, it's damning. It's got to be frustrating for them. And look, we can talk MVP all we want, and I guess that can be their title if they want, but he might end up losing that. So, yeah, there's a lot going on out there in Denver.
You had me at Sacramento Kings, by the way. That would be an amazing ending to a pretty fun season so far. And it's almost like Chandler looked at the rundown. We are going to talk about MVP right now, as a matter of fact, because it seemed like from the second game of the season, Jokic had this thing wrapped up. He was the MVP. Let's not talk about it anymore. But look at this. FanDuel Sportsbook odds have now put Joel Embiid at the top of the potential MVP list. He broke the 76ers record with 9 straight 30-point games. And yes, that is more than Wilt and AI. I do love that we get a little bit of a change of scenery here and more argument to be had. Chandler, what do you think? Is it a lock now for Embiid?
I wouldn't say it's a lock, but I'd say it's looking really, really good. And I love that these two teams play each other, I think, next Monday, and that will kind of be the icing on the cake, last showdown. So look for that game. And knowing Joel, he's going to go at him. And I think here's the best thing that happened, Joel, is this kind of fall off and this, Jokic to win back to back to back. You pretty much have to be perfect for the entire season. And now at the end of the season, when it matters the most, his team is kind of taking a hit and they've fallen off a little bit. And that hurts his stock. And Joel Embiid is the opposite. His trajectory has been up. He's dominating. They're winning. They're rising in the standings. And the Nuggets are doing the exact opposite. So I do think Joel is the front runner. I hope he wins it. He deserves it. And again, to win it back to back to back, you can't allow these kind of stretches in the season. And Jokic has done that. Was giving voters a little bit of doubt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember that Joel Embiid gave them 47-18 last time they played each other. So if he repeats that when they play again, he might lock up the MVP right then and there. Chandler's right. He's trending right. We remember what you've done for us lately most. And so if he's going to kill it in March and April, if he's going to push his team up to the 2 seed and possibly even the 1 seed, you got to give him that. Yeah, you at some point he's winning all of the conversations you can have. He's leading the league in scoring. He has a great narrative. He's putting up these gaudy accomplishments. He's doing stuff Wilt didn't do. Okay, what else did you have to do to win an MVP at this point? Oh, you got to beat up the reigning 2-time MVP? Did that. And might just do it again. But we're going to talk about him in a second. And, this is, I think they call this a segue. But there's another guy lurking, and he's lobbying for it. He's openly lobbying and telling us, if I'm not the MVP, then what's the MVP? So it's a 3-man race right now, in my eyes.
Yes, segue or Segui, if you will. Giannis and his team beating the Raptors. There was an NBA game last night. You might have missed it with all the college stuff, but he did finish with 22, 13, and 10. Brookie Lopez, 26, Middleton, 20. Giannis talked to Sam Amick about the MVP award. Here's what he said. So what is the MVP? Is it the guy who scores the most points? Is it the guy who's the most efficient? Is it the guy who's the most dominant? Is it the guy who's the most valuable? The criteria just, sorry for my language, it just changes. You don't have to apologize. You're an adult. But he did weigh in on it, and I do love when guys start to sort of talk about the topics that we've all been wondering about ourselves. Does he have a point, Chandler? What exactly is the criteria for this award?
Yeah, you never really know, and this is why guys get frustrated because the Bucks are the best team in the NBA, I think, and he's been the best player on the NBA. So does that count? Jokic kind of has doing something different than his position usually does, and averaging triple doubles and having these crazy numbers. Does that count? Joel Embiid is now dominating, leading the NBA in scoring, kind of peaking at the right time, having his team rise in the standing. So they all have a vote, and they all could deserve it. It is tough. You look at Giannis' game last night. The guy was perfect from the field. He only missed free throws. The only thing he did wrong was literally he missed 4 free throws or whatever it was. It's insane the season this guy's having. He's probably the best. If you had a draft right now of any player in the NBA, you're probably taking Giannis number 1. And everything that's happened with Chris Middleton being in and out of the lineup, this guy he also has a strong case. And I think it's the last 2 weeks of the season, 3 weeks of the season, it's going to play a huge part because all these guys are right there. They're all 3 on great teams. And it could, I think any of them can still get it, which is insane that there's this little many games left and all 3 of them are still an option for MVP. Just shows how good the league is right now. It shows how many dominating seasons these guys are having. But to me, it's Joel Embiid. Everything he's doing, I hate the hate he's getting, how he's taking plays off. I watch him all the time. A lot of the plays he's taken off is when he's usually in foul trouble and Doc keeps him in the game and he's kind of avoiding contact. But the guy's been unbelievable. So it's hard. It's hard to hate on any of them.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 have amazing cases. I mean, Joel Embiid, league leading in scoring. I think he got snubbed probably the last couple of years, one of the last couple of years. Jokic, leading the league in triple doubles. He's going to become the 3rd player, as long as this continues, to average triple double over a season with Oscar Robertson, Russell Westbrook. First as a big man. They're probably going to end up as the number 1 seed in the West. Giannis has a great case, too. I talked about it last week. Why aren't we talking about him more? Number 1 seed in the East. Despite all the injuries they've had, Chris Middleton being out for most of the season, he literally just got back to being the Chris Middleton that we know and expect from him. So Giannis has really led that team to the number 1 seed out of nowhere this season. So all 3 have cases. I think it's amazing for the league for 3 guys to be going into the last 2 weeks of the regular season, and really the MVP could be decided right here.
Eddie, look, we're fans, right? So when we talk about these things with friends and stuff, it's not a checklist. It's not that easy to just sort of check these topics off and say you're the MVP. It's like a vibe. If you had to explain it to someone who has no idea what you're talking about, what is the MVP?
I mean, it's a great question, and it's a question these guys have been wrestling with for some time, because when Russell Westbrook got a triple-double, it was pretty much like he has to win. He had a triple-double. But there was times when it was like, well, LeBron was just the best player this year, and it has to be LeBron. And I don't think there's a clear answer, and that's why I understand why it's frustrating. Now, I've heard people say, yo, there should be a checklist, and they should be. And I'm like, well, then we're going to see guys playing for those numbers every year, and that's not going to be fun. So it's weird, and it is kind of a vibe. It is kind of a feeling like this guy was better than everybody this year. To me, that's what it is. This was the best player. He had the best season of everybody all year. But for each person, that definition is different. And so I get why Giannis is frustrated. LeBron once spoke about that quite vocally, as it was very clear that Steph was about to win the MVP. Said, yo, if we're talking about the most valuable player in the league, who's more valuable to their team than me? Which was like, if I'm D Wade, I'm sitting there going, hey, chill, bro. But he was kind of right. He had a good point. Like, he was incredibly valuable to his team. So, but if we're going to do that, then we do on-off stats and, like, who has the most net rating. And like, it could be so many things. But the short answer to your question is, I don't know. The MVP is the MVP.
You know what's funny?
It's really hard.
The thing that helps Joel the most is that he hasn't won the award. And I swear the NBA just wants someone new to win it. He just won it. Giannis has won it. Joel has complained that he should have won it the last couple of years. It's like Damian Lillard. He kind of chirped so much in the beginning. He's now like a lock for an All-Star game. He made the USA team. If you vocalize it so much, you're going to speak it into existence. And I swear that is helping Joel Embiid, because now Jokic is giving you doubt. Giannis has already got it. Now let's have a new, fresh star in the NBA. Let's give it to Joel Embiid. And the next year they can all just fight over it again.
I know. It's funny because it's all in the delivery, right? Like when Joel was, I wouldn't even say he was complaining. He was just matter of fact, very truthful about the fact that he wanted the award. He deserved the award. And it was just like, I kind of like that he did that. He wasn't acting like it was too cool for the award, and it made me happy. Look, Suns Thunder is our next game. Thunder is like second half Utah Jazz. Like, what's even happening right here? Thunder beat the Suns 124-120. SGA with 40 points, 5 rebounds. Devin Booker finished with 46. No big deal. Lou Dort 20 and 5. Okay, so OKC is 2.5 games out of the 5 seed. Where even are we right now? Is it a realistic possibility? They're peaking at the right time, which I guess is everything that you could ask for at this point. So what do we think, Chandler? A, did we expect this, and do we expect to be here this early? And B, do they have a realistic shot to do anything?
No, first of all, I definitely did not expect it. This has probably been the biggest surprise outside of Sacramento. Is I thought this was a lottery team. I thought this was going for the Victor sweepstakes, young coach, youngest team, and they have fully blown everybody's expectations. And when you look at the standings now they are dangerous. They are young, they are athletic, they have an absolute star in SGA, and they have the solid point guard in Giddey, and they just have youth that can shoot the ball, that can move the ball. And when you look at these standings right there, no matter how high they climb up, it's a fun series against Memphis. It's a fun series against Sacramento, and it's a really fun series against Denver. So I think if they get to that 7, 8, 6 seed, whatever it is, and it's not going to be sweet for those top 3 seeds. It's not just going to be an automatic sweep. These guys are going to play hard. They're going to be excited to be there. They're probably going to be nervous. It's going to be their first series pretty much. None of them have been there before. Their coach has never been there before, but they have had an unbelievable season, and it's going to be fun whoever they do draw, because they are a dangerous team. And this kid right here is an absolute star.
I'm with you, Chandler, and this is one of the reasons why I could look at the plan and be like, do we need it? Because they absolutely deserve the 8th seed, and they could be tricked out of that, you know what I mean, by losing 2 play-in games, which would be unfortunate. But they have 2 games with the Clippers coming up. They can move up in the standings. They have a road trip against the Lakers and the Blazers as well, so they can put distance between the guys behind them as well. So they should, I'm not going to call them a lock, because they are a young team and they have a lot to learn and they do make some mistakes. But they are right there. They're in prime position to grab their playoff spot and be a playoff team in a season where we absolutely did not expect that. And I understand why they're not chasing Victor Wembanyama. They feel like they drafted him last year already. Mm-hmm. They had some footage this week of Chet shooting around, finally getting back on the court, and can't wait to see him playing. Wish he could play this year, because then it'd be really exciting about what they could do in the playoffs. But they're set in prime position to actually make the playoffs, and it would be really unfortunate if the play-in gets them out. But that's the name of the game this year. Super excited for them. Like Chandler said, if it wasn't for the Kings, we'd all be raving about the Oklahoma City Thunder right now. So I hope they pull it off. Back-to-back against the Clippers, both in Staples coming up, and then the Lakers, the third game in Staples. A week in LA for a young team like this who needs to do everything they can to get into the playoffs could be a blessing in disguise, or it could be where their playoff hopes end. But you can tell it's a tight-knit group. I really hate when people fantasy trade Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because he seems to just love his guys. He seems to love everybody there. If you look at him on Instagram, he always makes sure to post either of the Jalen Williamses or whomever else. They look like they're just enjoying having their cake and eating it too right now. And then next year they're going to be even better. And they still got cap space. They still got opportunity to add people. They still have all their picks. They still have all the Clippers picks. They still have so much room to improve.
Sheesh.
It's exciting just trying to see what they're going to do going forward.
Yeah, the Sam Presti experiment is working, and now they're a year, 2 seasons. I mean, they're in 2 seasons. I think they're going to be so much fun. Chet Holmgren, did he put on any weight? I can't tell. Oh, he's so thin. We're going to talk about the Suns, though, too, because they're still obviously without Kevin Durant in the lineup. They're in the 4 seed. So, Shams, can you tell us anything? Can we expect him back anytime soon?
Yeah, Kevin Durant's doing more and more on the court. I would expect more evaluations later this week. I think there will be potentially an update later this week and early next week when they reevaluate him and see exactly how much progress he's made. But definitely there's optimism within the Suns that they're going to be cautious, but they are hopeful that he's going to be back in lineup before the end of March, potentially early April. The goal was always here, 2 to 3 weeks in that range, but they're going to be cautious. They know the best time for him is playoff time. So making sure that he's 100%, not rushing him back, I think that'll be a priority as well.
I mean, the big deal too, Chandler, right now is the Clippers are a half game back. So the home court advantage thing is basically what's up for grabs at this point. Do you have high hopes that Phoenix holds on to that?
I mean, they need Kevin Durant back, but like Shams just said, they need him for the playoffs because no matter what seed they get, whether it's home court 5, 6, they're not scared to play anybody when they're fully loaded. This is why they made the trade. They believe he was the best option for Devin Booker, for Chris Paul, for DeAndre Ayton. And this is a very, very scary team. We just haven't really had a chance to see it come to fruition here. Guy goes down with a freak injury and layup drills. But Devin Booker's got to have games like last night where he's dominating. He's like scoring 40, 50 points. And he's got to just trying to continue to bear down and get it done for his team. But it doesn't matter, again, where they fall because Kevin Durant is coming back. He's coming back soon. And we talk about the West all year long. It's pretty much wide open. I don't think anybody fears Denver. Memphis has a lot of stuff going on. Nobody fears Sacramento. So this team has a chance. They just got to get Kevin Durant healthy and get him in the lineup.
Eddie, you going to let him just say nobody fears Sacramento? Really? We're just going to let that slide?
Look, hey,
I don't know if we should.
We're talking about the Suns now, so we're getting a little bit more biased than we were 10 minutes ago. We were talking about the Kings.
You're in a trick spot.
The Suns aren't worried about seeding. They feel like they can go in any gym and win game 1 or game 2 and still home court. They're not worried about that. Now, I'm sure they'd like to stay out of the play-in. Let's not play an extra game where we don't need to. But yes, Kevin's on the way back. He's feeling better. He told me in these videos that circulate where he's shooting around, he said, he was told not to push himself, and then he started pushing himself. So there's no holding him back at this point. But yeah, he's right around the corner. I don't know. I would guess a week from now or so. They finally play back at home against Denver and Minnesota. They need both those games. So coming up right around the corner. But no, I don't think they're worried. Remember, DeAndre Ayton was out last night, and he's obviously huge for them. They just beat the Thunder twice since the All-Star break. I'm like, how many more times are they going to play the Thunder? But no, yes, you would love to stay in the top half of the ledger, of course. But that's only home court in the first series, and from there on out. Those guys aren't worried about seeding. They just need to get healthy, and then they can beat anybody out there, including the teams in the East. But it's a but. They got to get healthy, and they got to stay healthy.
Big butt, just a giant butt. Get your coffee ready, sit down, get comfortable. When we come back, Shams with updates on John Morant, Anthony Edwards, and Lonzo Ball when Run It Back returns. Welcome back to Run It Back. Memphis Grizzlies got a lot of airtime this weekend, Shams, and we would love to know, when can we expect to see Ja Morant back on the court?
So he's out tonight, even though his 8-game suspension is over. He's going to miss tonight. They're going to ramp him up. I'm told he could return to the lineup as soon as Wednesday at home against the Rockets. So it was overall an 8-game suspension for Ja Morant, unpaid. The NBA had its investigation. They concluded a few things in that video where he was waving the gun on camera on social media on March 4th, that the gun, they concluded, did not belong to Morant. The gun was not brought by him to the club. They concluded that he didn't display it for longer than he did in that social media video. They did not conclude that he traveled with the gun. So a few things that their investigation showed, and that's where they landed on that 8-game suspension, conduct detrimental to the team. This is a Grizzlies team, though, that has played pretty solid without Ja Morant. They lost their first 2 without him after the initial suspension, but they went 5-3 overall in the 8 games without him. They're 9-8 this year without Ja Morant. They have another game tonight against Dallas. So this is a team, Memphis, that looks like it's ready to get their player back. I think they're all trying to move on from this saga.
Yeah, this is kind of the best case for them, honestly. They maintain their seed right there. They're right in the 3rd seed, have a chance to still steal the 2nd seed from Sacramento. I feel like this went really quick, and they kind of, like I said, they treaded water. Hopefully Ja got all the help he needed, and you know, there's nothing further punishment-wise with legally or anything like that. So this is great news for the Memphis Grizzlies, because this team's a contender with Ja Morant, and they're not without him. It's pretty simple. And now the fact that they get him back and they can start getting him acclimated before the playoffs start is huge for them.
They overcame a 29-point deficit on Friday night against my Spurs. I feel like no one's addressing what a confidence build that probably was for the team. That's fine. Eddie, look, they blew out the Warriors. This is the moment right here. Klay Thompson, Dylan Brooks at the end of the game, talking smack back and forth from both ends of the court. Klay with the 4, Brooks saying he owns real estate in the Warriors' heads. Is that true?
I guess it's like being like a troll. I mean, I don't know. As somebody who talks to trolls all day, I wouldn't call that real estate. I mean, it's just kind of being irritated. Look, the Dylan Brooks rollout has been kind of incredible, and I'm not a fan at all. Like, he just bothers me. But, yo, he keeps winning games and hitting shots and cussing dudes out, and he's clearly riling these guys up. I love Klay Thompson, and I love that when you go at Klay Thompson, he just goes low. He doesn't care. He's just, well, you suck, and your life is boring, so whatever, I'm Klay Thompson. And he just does that. So after the game, when he says, yo, they're not even going to remember Dylan Brooks in 10 years, it's kind of right, which just makes it even funnier. And there's no play with Klay. I have way more rings than you. I've won way more than you. I'm a Hall of Famer, and you stink. And that's it. He gets nothing else out of that. At least Draymond has a podcast, and there's a little more banter to that. But you're Dylan Brooks, you're riding high. He's got to be taking calls with like Li Ning and all the Chinese shoe brands. Somebody has to be beating down his door for some endorsements, because nobody has been more talked about in the NBA than Dylan Brooks ever since Ja Morant went out. So, you know, we lose Ja and then we get Dylan Brooks. I don't know. I would rather have Ja back ASAP. Please bring him back tonight if we can.
Yeah, there's no real estate. There's no real estate in the Warriors' head. There's no real estate in Klay Thompson's head. Is it fun? Is it exciting? Is it hilarious? Sure, but Klay's right. Dylan Brooks has 0 All-Star games. He has 0 championships. He has, you know, about half the money or less than half the money Klay Thompson's made his career. So he has nothing on Klay Thompson. And I love the way that Klay Thompson is handling this. And this is what Dylan Brooks has become. This is his role. He's the chirpy new Patrick Beverley for his team that is a good player and will be a good player for a long time. Will he ever be an All-Star or All-MVP or All-NBA? Probably not. But this is who he is. He's tough. He defends. He's versatile. He does a little bit of everything. But Draymond's right. This isn't a rivalry. Memphis has done nothing. Warriors have done a lot of things. Klay Thompson's right. No one probably will talk about Dylan Brooks when he's done, and everybody will talk about Klay Thompson as one of the best shooting guards of all time, and he would be the best shooter of all time if his teammate never existed. So it's not a rivalry. There's no real estate. It's fun. It's trash talking. I think it's great for the game. I think it's great for the ratings. I think it's great for the league. I love it. It's chippy. I hope they play in the playoff series. But yeah, if anything, this is good for Dylan Brooks' followers on social media, but that's about it.
Can we agree, though, that for Dylan Brooks' sake, the timing is about as perfect as you could hope for, in that the Warriors are just absolutely 2 different teams, both on the road and at home? I mean, if you're going to talk smack to the defending champs, they are at their weakest right now. seemingly.
Yeah,
So I feel like his timing is pretty good.
Yeah, you couldn't do this a couple of years ago, right? Because they just beat you by 40 and they'd win a championship. Literally be nothing to say. The Grizzlies are rising and the Warriors are kind of falling off a little bit. So it is the perfect situation for Dillon Brooks to be able to bark like this and possibly go and play them in a playoff series and win. Please, God, don't let that happen, because who knows what the kid will do once that does happen. And I do think the Grizzlies would probably beat them in a series right now. So you're right. It is an ideal situation for Dillon Brooks. And it's going to be a lot of fun if they do happen to face each other.
Yeah, Dillon Brooks was very funny until the cameraman incident. That was a jackass move, so I hope he figures that out and doesn't do that again. There was some bad news, really, I think, for a lot of us on Friday. A guy that everyone seemingly is rooting for, Anthony Edwards, Shams, the guy who's the Iron Man. What's the latest on his injury?
Yeah, he's healing like a Wolverine. Like, he was in a walking boot. It looked like a nasty injury. He was like you can see right there, he was really hurt. He exited his walking boot in about 32 hours. The swelling's gone down. He may miss another game or two, maybe a few more games, but they're listing him as day-to-day. They think this is a day-to-day injury. They're going to keep evaluating it, see how the swelling goes down. He's moving around a lot more, I'm told. So the hope is that he's back sooner than later. And guys, Karl-Anthony Towns is also getting closer and closer. I think the Timberwolves are hopeful that he's going to be able to make his debut here before the regular season is out. So look for him potentially to return to the lineup as well.
Yeah, I think fans definitely disappointed on the Anthony Edwards front. And then Lonzo Ball, I know when everything went down, we kind of thought this is an awful situation, Shams, and it doesn't seem to be getting better.
Yeah, he's going to have his third straight knee surgery on that left knee sometime this week, is what Billy Donovan said. And this surgery is a cartilage transplant procedure, and this is expected to cost him most of next season as well. And so it's just brutal for him. Of course, the optimism is there that he's going to be able to recover from this cartilage transplant and that it'll revive his career. But from one person told me this is a 50-50 proposition at best, depending on how that surgery goes. And so he had a tremendous impact last year for the Bulls. You can't make a question about it. They went 22-13 with him in the lineup. They were competing for the #1 seed. We've talked about it a lot. I think Chandler's a great person to talk to about this. Is just you feel for a guy like Lonzo Ball, who's improved so much throughout his career, but he's going to end up missing 2.5. We'll see how much longer of his career in his prime.
Yeah, this one hits me hard because I went through the same exact thing. And this kid's 25 years old, and he was on the path to be an absolute star and a great player in this league. And this is the problem, is this, guys like him, guys like Jonathan Isaacs, this is just unfortunate. This is bad luck. This has nothing to do with his work ethic. This has nothing to do whether he's soft or he's injury prone or whatever. And that's the stigma these guys are going to get, and it's unfair. This kid works extremely hard. He puts the time in, and this is just tough. He's got it, and I hope for his sake, he's got the right people around him, because mentally this is going to take a toll on him. And he's going to go through things he's never gone through before. He's already been out so long. His brother is a big star in the NBA. This is a very, very tough situation for him. And I hope that he's got the right people around him and he's got the support he needs, because this is impossible to go through. And this is very, very hard. And he doesn't deserve this. And it really does suck, because he was going to be such a good player. And the cartilage transplant, I don't know anybody that's ever come back for this. I know Festus Ezeli's tried it. I've been to Germany to do similar procedures like this, and it does help, but it takes a while to rehab. And you're basically in a constant move and motion machine for 3 months, where you sleep with your leg kind of moving back and forth. And you kind of got to have to teach yourself how to re-walk again. You can't put weight on it. You're doing a lot of workouts in the pool, and you literally are a kid again. You have to learn how to walk, then jog, then alter G, then you can start running, and then you get on the court. So he's got a long, grueling process ahead of him. I hope he reaches out to me or anybody I've went through, because I've been through situations like this, and it's not fun. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm glad that he's doing this. It just clearly shows he's at a dead end, and all options are being exhausted here if he's going to this route for the third surgery in a row. But I'm praying for the kid, because this sucks.
Chandler, did you go to Germany? I mean, Germany seems to be the place to go for everything. Did you do that? How was that?
Yeah, it's great. And there's this Dr. Peter Veiling. I heard LeBron actually just went last week or something, where it's basically like a 5-day process where you do injections and you can work out. It's kind of the European way of PRP, but it's not approved and patented by America, and you go and you work out and you kind of do all these different things with it, but it helps. So it's just temporary and it doesn't last very long. And it's hard to go, obviously, to Dusseldorf, Germany in the middle of the season. So it definitely helps. There's guys in Cologne that do the transplant from cadavers, or you can get it from something else, but it's intense and it's expensive and the rehab is brutal and it's no fun.
That's a gut punch, to say the very least. Shams, thank you so much. And there was a lot of information to relay. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, a very full and star-studded edition of That Man Has a Family. We get to laugh and mock next on Run It Back.
Run it back, yeah, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up.
All-star edition. How about teammate? Teammate on teammate. How does this happen?
Great defense, Yoke. Best defense of the year from the MVP.
What is that? That doesn't look right at all.
No, I kind of love it. You gotta go get that body no matter what. I love it. It's good to see Michael Porter Jr. being healthy. And
this is one of the few times he's tried to box out this year, and his own teammate puts it on his head. Which is
I know, right? Like it's like he walked into the joke. Now I feel kind of bad for him. I'm not gonna lie. We got a guy next who's multiple time victim who actually finally gets his just. There you go, Jakob.
Love this. The guy that's got banged on all year finds the opposing team's point guard and puts it on his head.
But I mean, the guy, he's always on the receiving end.
One for the good
I'll give him a little
guys.
credit. Shea is not an average point guard. He's 6'7". He's got gigantic arms. But yeah, this is big on the small crime. But I guess go for it, Jakob.
Well, look, Jakob's vertical is not great, but
it took everything he had. It took everything he had, from the half court running start, one leg. He needed everything to happen here, and it did.
He definitely subbed out.
It all had to go.
Whistle.
It had to be all right. Yeah,
all
I know.
the stars
He
aligned.
needed a minute. Poor Pirtle. How about Naz Reid on Pascal Siakam? Okay.
Ooh.
It would have been so funny.
Yeah, I don't hate
it.
It would have been so funny if this next clip was Naz Reid dunks on Jacob Portal.
You are so disrespectful.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. Let Pirtle have a minute. He might never get another one of those. So we're going to let him have the day to celebrate and then move on from there. Eddie, you want to take this next one?
I'm speechless. I just love it. And he got a flagrant for that too. Like, take that, Rudy. I text Jason and was like, yo, your poster collection is disgusting. Like, who's left? I think he just said Joel. Joel's the last one.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
with
it scared
that.
me
Good
though.
luck
The
with that,
way he fell, I didn't like the way Tatum fell for a half second. I was like, no, don't do that.
Also, that's an unbelievable pass by Smart.
Yeah, yo, I'm so happy you mentioned that, Chandler. That's beautiful.
It's a crazy pass.
Guys,
That's one of those cuts you don't even expect the guy to
passes.
throw it. You're just jogging through there, and he hits you in the chest anyway. Look at it. Whoop. Oh,
Rudy Gobert
I love
not looking great in any of these, by the way. Miles Turner over Giannis.
I know some people don't like the throw-in dunk that Dwight Howard used to do back in the day. I love this. I think this is harder to do. I think it's more impressive. He's jumping from further away, and he just poked on the longest NBA player in all of the land. So I love this.
Right down the
as
middle.
like captain.
Yeah.
Look, that's just a loud layup. I'm with you on this one. That was impressive. I like that one.
It's dirty.
I like that one too. It's all about context and who and what and where and when. So I think that was a big one right there. Another game we haven't talked about yet was Clippers and Blazers, and we're not even really going to go into full detail about it. Clippers did beat Portland, but it's really our chance to show you and let you hear some sound from Damian Lillard after this loss. Here it is.
Pretty much falling out of the race for the 10th spot, unless we go out there and win every game. When you really look around and really look at it truthfully. So, right now I'm just not ready to not play. Last season I missed, I think, 52 games or something like that. So I love to play. I love the competition. And, I just haven't been ready to give that up. But it does come a point in time where you look around and you like, when do you stop putting your competitive nature out front and look at, what a game of chess would look like at that point.
I mean, for anyone who has no idea why this is a big deal, remember, he has been very loyal to the city of Portland. He seems to be one of those guys who may never, ever leave the city of Portland and play for one team his entire career. And these words are sort of eyebrow raising. Chandler, what did you make of this?
I mean, he's being realistic about the situation. They are basically out of the play-in. They've kind of dug themselves a hole, and there's only a couple weeks left. They're pretty much done. And he's been so vocal, like you just said, about never leaving and his loyalty. It would almost be weird now if he did request a trade. So I don't see that happening. I think maybe we can see a mutual decision here made where there's going to, Portland at least can owe him that, where they'll make it a mutual agreement to move him and to find him a different home on a contender. But, he's been very vocal about, championships being watered down and being low to one city and never wanting to request a trade. So I don't think that will ever happen, but I do consider, I would consider the team kind of going to him and, trying to find the best possible scenario for him and making it look as good as possible for him if he were to get moved. But the guy deserves better. He deserves more help. He's still playing at a very, very high level, but it's going to be tough for him to watch these playoff teams and to watch the playoffs all year long and to watch these other teams that he, can still be a huge factor on. And meanwhile, he's just being loyal to his current girlfriend right now, and it's not working out. So it's tough for him, and he is getting older, and his time is now. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with him. But I can't imagine him, after everything that's been said, him going out there and publicly making a request. I don't think that's going to happen.
Chess.
Yeah, I think,
Eddie?
I appreciate the realism he's bringing to these conversations, and that's basically been his main point. Like, I have to look at this in a real life perspective. I had to look at this from big picture perspective. When he says chessboard, he seems a little younger than he is. Damon's 32, he'll be 33 this summer. Like, he's been in the league for quite a while. So when he says chessboard, I'm guessing he means like these need to be meaningful games as I go on in my career. Unfortunate thing for him is he's had an aggressive organization. They've been in all of the conversations. They had meetings with LeBron James way back when. They've been after every free agent, after every trade conversation, through different owners, different regimes as well. They just haven't put together that championship roster for him ever at this point. And maybe they can try this summer, but I get what Dame's saying, and he's being realistic. Like, look, I'm not going to play when we're eliminated. I'm going to go home. I'm going to be Damian Lillard. And he's keeping it real. I can't do nothing but respect that.
Yeah, I think those were big words. It was a moment for sure. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to make some picks. Then you weigh your options after hearing the words we say and decide how you want to invest your money properly when Run It Back returns.
Run it back, run it up, run it back, run it.
FanDuel Casino's March weekly Super Sweeps is here, and you can win a share of $300,000 each week from March 14th through April 2nd. Every Tuesday through Saturday, opt in, and any bet of $200 or more gets you an entry to that Sunday sweepstakes drawing. See FanDuel Casino for more details on how you can enter the March weekly Super Sweeps. Well, Wednesday seems like a lifetime ago, but unfortunately, the results of Wednesday are going to live forever, guys. Would you like to see how well we did last week? Ta-da!
I don't really know why we needed to do that.
Nailed it.
I don't even remember why I picked this.
Yeah.
I don't either. And that's the beauty of how bad we are. So that's what it is. But the good news, if I could even say that at this point, we have another shot at it. Eddie, take it away.
I'm going Joel Embiid over 33 points tonight.
Ooh.
He's playing the Bulls. He's playing Nick Vucevic. I'm expecting him to dominate, truth be told. So, yeah, I'm take that one.
Okay.
I like the
Chandler?
Jazz. I like the Jazz +5. It's now or never. They're in the 11th seed. They're right there with the Lakers. They got to win this one or lose by 4.
Or lose by 4. That's fair. I'm going to go with the Rockets +10.5 because I don't understand. Like, Warriors can't win a game on the road, much less come close to this. So this feels like a lock for me, guys. Anybody have any final last words before we part ways for a Monday?
It's never a lock. It's never a lock.
That's a great point. Fine. We'll be back tomorrow. Bye.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.